Hello, welcome back. It's still Wednesday, and today I am going to talk a little bit about something that we're going to be kind of begin working on for the rest of this week and next. And it's kind of like science, but it's also writing and some reading strategies as well, kind of all mixed together. So on your schedule for today, this link was called animal research. And, for the past couple of days, I've been having you read to self out of your mailbox and reading about different animals. And what I'm eventually going to have you do is to choose an animal that you would like to know more about. And so I'm kind of going to talk a little bit today about when you start narrowing down what animal you might want to research and find out more information about. I want you to kind of think about some things in some of the books that I have put on Epic and in your mailbox. And those are what we call text features. And I'm going to write that on my board here. Text features we see a lot when we read nonfiction. Okay, so I bet when I start talking about this, you'll know what text features are. You just don't always call them text features. So I chose a book today called Elephants. It was chosen out of my mailbox or my assignments that I had given to you. And I'm not going to read all of this book in its entirety. You can do that on your own if you choose to. What I'm going to do today is to take this book and talk about its text features. This is different than if you were reading a chapter book, that's fictional with different chapters and a plot. When I read nonfiction,
Elephant.
I have to read it in a little bit different way. And one of the things I need to make sure I focus on is to pay attention to its text features. So I'm going to turn the page. And as you see in this book, lots of photographs. Photographs are one example of a text feature. And, photographs are those taken by a photographer. They're not drawings made by an illustrator. They're actual pictures taken with a camera. So photographs are one example of text features that help you to understand what you're reading. Okay. Another text feature that you see is right up here. You see this word elephants, and then it says red crabs, and up here the wildebeest. Those are what we call captions. And a caption is simply it could be a sentence, it could be a word or a phrase that helps to describe what your photograph is about. And so we always want to look at the captions as we look at the photograph so that we know what's going on. Okay, here's another example kind of a caption inside of these photographs where it gives you a little bit more information about the text. As I turn the page, again, this book is about elephants, so I'm seeing another photograph. I also see another text feature that helps me to know where elephants come from, and that is, this one I bet, what we call a map. Okay, maps are very helpful in nonfiction books as a text feature because in this book, this is telling me where where elephants live in the world. And here it says elephants live in Africa and in Asia. And this particular book is about elephants that live on the southern border of the Sahara Desert in Mali, West Africa. So it tells you right here where that's located. It's not talking about the elephants found in Asia, but we're just simply talking about the elephants found in Mali, which helps me to understand more about this animal. So maps are another very interesting and helpful tool. Okay, here's another photograph that has the different captions, and you can see it's labeling the different parts of an animal and giving you more information about it. So these captions have more detail. Okay, another thing I want to pay close attention to as I'm reading nonfiction is what we call the font. And if you may know that word as you're typing, you can change the font which means the style of text. Up here at the top, this font that you see that's popping out is larger and it's outlined in blue. And that is because it's what we call the heading. And this heading, Enormous Appetites, is about just that. The rest of this text that you see here is going to be about their appetites and what they eat. Then I can look at the photographs and the captions to help me understand further about what an elephant eats. But the font here is very large because it's the kind of like the main idea of this text. Okay, the font below it in the black is smaller because it's the actual detailed text. So those are some examples of some of the different text features that you see. As I kind of go on, you can see kind of another diagram. That would be another text feature. A diagram is kind of like a chart. It might explain how something works. And on this page, it's showing you a little bit about how elephants migrate and the distance that they might travel during a migration between Washington, D.C. and New York City, to kind of give you an idea of what that's like. And so a diagram is also a helpful text feature. And I was looking for an example of a chart. Every text feature is not in every single book, so that's important to know as well. As I flip through, you can see that actually the most common text features are photographs and captions for sure in this book. So this book is kind of long. Again, I'm not reading it. I just wanted to kind of show you some different examples. Here's another example of a diagram, 10 cool things about elephants. They use a lot of color and a lot of different ways, these different circles. It's kind of like a caption and a photograph in the circle to make it stand out, to make it easier to read. So this is a very clear example of another kind of diagram. And so as I kind of go on, again, some of the same text features are repeated. The last thing in this book is a glossary, which is another text feature that explains about some of the different words that you saw in this book and what they mean. For example, if you didn't know what a herbivore is or what migration meant, you could go to the end and you could look that up and you could read on about it to help you understand more clearly. So those are all examples of text features: photographs, captions, maps, the font, and possibly a diagram or a chart to help you understand the material. So as we read on for this week and next, I'd like for you to begin thinking about the animal that you might like to research and start looking for some books that might help you along the way.